Hey guys, I figured out a way to save a little bit more money. Say, how you gonna do that? I'm gonna take these brake shoes off, put them on the outfit. These are still pretty decent. I got a little bit of life left on them. Better than what I got. And this ain't $28 right here. You say $28? Yeah. I've already saved $10, $15. I'm gonna save $28 right here. So I'm thinking, why not? 28 bucks. So here we go. We're gonna take these brakes off. If I get it right. Oh, might not be the right one. Y'all know how to take brakes off. So I probably don't even have to show y'all this. But wind's blowing about 83 miles an hour out here. It's been raining all day. Started out this morning almost 70 degrees. I think it's about 45 degrees now. And it's supposed to get down to 24 degrees by 7 o'clock in the morning. So it's going to be cold. There it is. Yeah, these look like old asbestos pads. I ain't worried about that. Everybody gets all up there into that. Use them. Back in the old days, as long as you don't breathe them much, you're alright. All that hardware off. I'll be back with you here in a little while, and we'll see if we can't put them on the side of the old outfit in there. Alright guys, I'm going to show you another little trick I always do on these brake adjusters. If they don't look real good, I always take them apart. If they're stuck, you can usually take a torch and heat it, and it'd usually break right loose. I have made several of them work in the past that were frozen up and rusted. I'm sure many of you have. But one of the things that I've learned through the years to do and just take them apart, take you some brake cleaner, carburetor cleaner or something, or if you have a parts washer, be good. Just take them, clean them up. It's always good to have clean parts. If you can't have new parts, at least you can have clean parts. So that's what it's all about. Making clean parts out of old used parts. You know, surely we can do that. If you don't have carburetor cleaner, if you don't have a parts washer, you surely got some soap and water. That'll work too. So I know that carburetor cleaner and brake cleaner stuff's getting to be high. Me and old Doug got a saying around here, we get to using too much of that, we get to saying that's some high washing you do in there. So, but just an old saying we learned from an old guy a long time ago. I got to using brake cleaner one time. I had about 2 or 3 cans I'd went through. This is back about 30 years ago, 25 years ago. And I was working on his race car. And had to clean the rear end housing out. It had we had pulled the gears out, and they wanted me to go ahead and, it was in the winter time, and I was doing maintenance. And I just grabbed 2 or 3 cans of brake clean, crawled under the car, and was cleaning everything up. It's just easier to use that than it is to have a pan of gas and a wash rag to reach in there. You know how it is. It's hard to, or a shop towel, hard to clean the rear end out like that. But anyhow, I was under there, and he walked by, and this guy was a millionaire, and he knew how to make money, literally. I'll leave that alone. But anyhow, he come by there and seen me use. I had 3 cans of brake cleaner under there, and I'd already used one, getting into the second one, washing the crevices out in that old rear end housing. And he come by there, he said, man, he said, you are getting into a lot of high washing right there. He said, can't you use some gas? And I said, I guess I can. So nowadays it's about as cheap to use a can of brake cleaner as it is to get a gallon of gas. So anyway, needless to say, every once in a while, if you hear us say, man, you doing some high washing there, you'll know what I'm talking about. So anyway, I usually take a little bit of bearing grease, high temp bearing grease, put on the threads. All that's doing is just lubricating so that when we go back together, that's ready. On the cap, the spinner cap, I don't know what they're called. I call it spinner cap that goes on it. Just wash it up just like you do any of them. It don't take a whole lot of that high wash. Just a little bit. Don't forget your little bushing. It's a little bitty shim of bushing. I don't usually put too much grease right there, but I'll put a little dab right here on top. And then when it goes back together, it all works good and smooth. Now I got to clean up my nutsert part. Just clean all that old brake dust and grime that's been on there for years. Don't necessarily have to clean it, because it's going to get dirty again from brake dust and whatnot, but at least when you go to handling everything, putting everything back together, it's nice and clean. You may not, like I say, you may not have new parts, but you can have clean parts. And that's all that matters. See, it's still rusty, as you can see, still rusty. But threads look good and clean down in it. So we're going to put that back together. Look how easy that spins. No squeaking, no making noises. Runs just as smooth can be. Got it all the way up. That spins like it should. All right. That's how you take old parts, clean them up, make them look good. Well, look better and work right. So we'll see what else we can clean up here in just a minute. All right, guys, I got the little spacer bar that goes in the top. It's all grimy and cruddy. We'll take it and just hit it with a wire brush. Like I say again, you don't necessarily have to, but hey, you ain't got nothing but time, right? Take it, clean it up. Knock that old stuff off of it. Just old grit and grime, brake dust, build up on it through the years. I don't do it every time, but hey, if it makes something a little bit easier, why not? See there? Just about that quick and easy. About all you got to do is Take and wash it with some of that high wash. And when you get it all cleaned up, if you wanted to spray a little paint on it, you can. It's up to you. Hey, it's your project. Whatever you want to do. Whatever floats your boat. You don't even want to clean it up. You don't have to. There's one thing that I learned through the years. Whether it's working with old stuff or new stuff, things just work better when it's clean. You say, how can that work better when it's clean? It just does. Just does. Don't you work better when you clean? Feel better. At least make the old car feel better about itself. I mean, my goodness. We're not spending no money on it, so putting it together as cheap as we can, just to show you that we can. You don't have to go out there and spend $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 to have fun. How about take what you got, go have fun in it. You say, yeah, but I want to go fast. You got to start somewhere. Hey, when I first started dirt tracking, let me tell you what I started in. I started in a Pinto. You say, a Pinto? Yeah. The motor was stuck in it. I was 17 years old. I didn't have no money. But my uncle had told me about a car. I called him, and my dad called for me and asked him, did he know where any little cars was at like that, little four-cylinder cars, like the little mini stock over here. And he said, yeah, there's a guy down the road here has one. I think he wants $75 for it. And them days are gone, I can tell you that. But went up there and looked at it, body was good and straight on it. And I was going to run the four-cylinder class anyway, so I looked at that car and had a 2.3 2300 in it. And I said, this is going to work out perfect. And he said he didn't know anything about the old car. It had been sitting there in his place for a long time. They had drove it years ago. I say years ago, it wasn't too many years because it's 1989 when I bought this car, and the car was an 80 model. So it wasn't but 9 years old. So it wasn't a bad little car, it wasn't wore out, none of that. So, but back then, 10-year-old car, 15-year-old car was considered to be wore out, and you need to look for another car. But anyhow, I got the car, got it home, motor was locked up, so we pulled the spark plugs out of it. Me and Dad was helping me. We got out there, pulled the spark plugs out of it, filled the cylinders full of transmission fluid. Didn't figure it'd be stuck bad because it hadn't been setting too many years. So anyway, let it set overnight. Next morning I got out there, took a wrench, put it on the front pulley, and just moved it a little bit, and it turned. So I put a battery on it and hit the starter, and it blew transmission fluid everywhere. Went to spinning over, wheeling real good. So I decided, let's put some gas in it. So we put gas in it, and the thing fired right up. Smoked like a freight train there for a little bit. Anyway, I had my first race car. I had bought a piece of a roll cage off of another old boy that we know, and it was an old car, a little old, there's another Pinto station wagon. I know I'm kind of rambling here. Y'all probably get tired of listening to it. These are just old stories. I take that old Pinto wagon. It had half of a roll cage in it. It had the halo I mean, not the halo, but the back bar that goes over your head here, and door bars. That's all it was. Now, you got to remember, I was 17 years old, and I'm probably bringing home about $85 a week. And so I went to some more boys that was already racing. Matter of fact, one of the guys was the guy that owns this mini stock over here, the number 10 car, and started talking to him about what I needed to get and this and that, and got a couple, 2 or 3 pieces of pipe, and I went to cutting and welding and cutting. Well, I could cut and weld. All I had was a stick welder, but I put that race car together with little to nothing. And hey, what I'm trying to say is I probably had $400, maybe $500 tied up in that race car. And I went out and had fun. I learned a bunch. And the next year, I had that car over there that I showed you here the other day. Matter of fact, let me go show you again. Well, I can't. I got you plugged in. You can't go with me. Anyway, I'll show you here in a minute. Just a second. Let me pause. All right. That's the car that I built the next year. Actually, that winter. I cut the roll cage out of that Pinto and put it in this Mustang. As you can see right here, it didn't quite fit. But anyway, I put it in there anyway. And I bought this car for $75. It's just a rolling little Mustang 2. Bought it for $75, and I already had the roll cage, I already had the motor, transmission, rear end, and all I did was swap stuff out. I didn't have no money tied up in this thing. And I was having fun. So I'm showing you that you could build stuff for cheap and have fun without having a bunch of money tied up in it. And so take what you got, clean it up, paint it, make it look better, whether it's nice with fancy Weir's Machine products or Hammond Motorsports products or Summit Racing equipment or Jegs equipment, whatever. You know, I understand that when you get into a higher horsepower ranks, you've got to have some better equipment. I understand that. I've been there. I've run everything all the way up to IMCA Modifieds. I know what I'm talking about and helped with late models. So I know what I'm talking about on that, but I'm also knowing what I'm talking about on cars that if you're wanting to just go have fun, you can have it cheap. And the way I've always done it, I've always done things on the cheap. It kind of showed on the racetrack at times, but I'm still having fun. And this mini stock over here, hey, there's not a ton of money tied up in that, but yet we're having fun. That's all that matters. Stan Yingling is the owner of that car. He owns Y&Y Auto Salvage in Judsonia, Arkansas. And he's helped me out a ton. And I really, really appreciate that guy. So anyway, we appreciate you watching tonight. I'm about out of time. I'll get back to putting these brakes back together on the next episode. Won't you hit that like button, that subscribe, and comment. Let me know what you think. We're almost to 125 subscribers. And if we can get to 250, we're going to have a nice giveaway. So I'm going to have a channel that we give stuff away on. And so at 250, we're almost halfway of that. We're going to give something away pretty nice. So like, subscribe, comment, and give me your feedback on doing stuff cheap. I mean, that's what we all do, right? Unless you got money, and I don't have it. So anyway, like, subscribe, comment, tell me how you like it. We'll see you later. God bless you.